Conversation may not have been brought up yet by people, but it needs to be brought up because we are coming down the home stretch, or heck, we are at the end of the season at this point, and the Miami Hurricanes are now sitting in a wait mode to see if, by some chance, they are admitted into the college football playoff. Uh, Maybe even as early as Tuesday. Maybe the committee members will have seen something that makes them change their mind as far as body of work and someone being better than somebody else. And that head to head finally matters now that all resumes are done for the Miami Hurricanes and Notre Dame. We can only hope. I don't have a great hope of that happening, even though I can give you logical reasons why it should be done. Um, Beyond the fact of the simplest fact that the Miami Hurricanes beat Notre Dame, and the next simplest fact that the Miami Hurricanes have better head to head wins than Notre Dame in comparative games. Um, and that Miami has a better overall top win than Notre Dame, being that Miami beat Notre Dame and Miami just finished pulverizing Pitt, which was largely considered Notre Dame's best win this season. And now it's become USC, but that wasn't what they said a week ago. So our win over Notre Dame is still better than their win over USC. We are now 4-0. Miami Hurricanes are 4-0 against ranked opponents. Notre Dame is 2-2. Again, all these things are going to come up and we'll see what the heck happens. But in the meantime, we need to look at the reality of what's going on in the Heisman Trophy. The Heisman Trophy race is about as wide open as I can ever imagine, having ever seen it before. And like if you ask me today who is the Heisman Trophy winner, who is the front runner for the Heisman Trophy, I would tell you I have absolutely no idea because I don't think any of these players is Heisman worthy who are currently listed as candidates. This might be the worst Heisman class that I've ever seen in my life watching college football. Here's why. When the season started, it talked about Arch Manning. They talked about Kate Klubnik. They talked about Garrett Nussmeyer. Those guys aren't even remotely close to the conversation at this point. Klubnik got benched. Nussmeyer don't know what the hell happened to him. His coach got fired. And Arch Manning looked like trash for the first half of the season. He's gotten better. I give him the credit. He's gotten better, but he's not in the conversation. Early on, it was Carson Beck. It was John Mateer. And we've seen John Mateer of late. He looks rather pedestrian. His offense stinks. And Carson Beck had his own issues that he ran into, which took him out of the race probably after that SMU game. Not so much the Louisville game, but more so the SMU game. And then you have the likes of Fernando Mendoza, Julian Sane, Jeremiah Love, Diego Pavia. These are the guys that are listed right now. These are the odds. I mean, ugh, barf. Is anything that Fernando Mendoza has done this year, has any of what he's done made you say, "Oh yeah, man, that guy's a Heisman Trophy winner"? Like, has anything like that come up to make you think that? Yeah, I agree. No, it hasn't. He's had a good year. He's had a good year. I mean, holy Lord, if Cam Ward played this season, he would have run away with this award. Run away with it. Heck, if Dylan Gabriel had played this season, he might have run away with this award. Clearly, if Travis Hunter had played this season, he would have run away with this award. And if Ashton Genty was on the field this season, any one of those top four guys last year would have run away with this award. Ashton Genty would have won this award in his sleep. Instead, he got screwed last year for Travis Hunter. I thought Ashton Genty should have won it. Really, I thought Cam Ward should have won it, but if it wasn't Cam Ward, it should have been Ashton Genty, not Travis Hunter. That's just my opinion. Let's be real here. Oh, yeah. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez. Show. Might hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell. leave a comment. They're talking about it's a two-man race for the Heisman Trophy, being Fernando Mendoza and Julian Sane. And they play on Saturday, which is great, which is really great. I hope the both of them are absolutely terrible. I mean, I hope the both of them are terrible. I hope they both stink it up because I don't think either guy should be a Heisman Trophy winner. Like, I'm sorry. I don't care what Julian Sane's numbers are. I don't care. He doesn't strike me as some elite quarterback. He's a good player with surrounded by elite talent. I mean, he was a five-star prospect. Sure. He should look like this, right? I mean, it makes sense, right? You're talking about he's had a strong season, no question about it. I mean, a strong season. I use the word strong for a reason. I don't use the word elite because there's nothing elite about it. 3,065 yards in 12 games. I mean, Cam Ward threw for over 4,000 yards in that same period last year. 30 touchdowns, 5 picks, almost 79% completion rate. That's solid. That's very good. Obviously, in a world where we just throw swing passes, so that's strong. Um, but again, nothing spectacular jumps out at me. I can go look at his numbers and his games and be like, okay. I mean, he had some great games. He had the Minnesota game that was 23 or 27. He had the 18 and 19 against Grambling, fantastic. He was terrible against Texas, terrible. Um, I mean, they played a bunch of bums all year. He was 20-23 against Penn State. Again, swing pass heaven. 36 or 42 Wisconsin, more swing passes. That was probably his best game. Wisconsin sucks. Washington was 22 of 28, 208. Not overly blowing you away. He threw for under 200 against UCLA and Rutgers, and he was 19 to 26 for 233 against Michigan. I know it was snowing, but again, not really anything spectacular. Fernando Mendoza, I'll use him next. His stats. Fernando Mendoza, he has had a again solid year, not something exceptional. 2,758 yards passing in 12 games. That's barely over 200 yards per game. That's an average of what is that averaging at? 220 yards a game, something like that. He's had a 19 to 20 game against Indiana State. Woohoo. He has had these 5 touchdown games. He has 32 touchdowns, 5 picks. So the pick numbers are obviously good. He was 22 to 24 against Wisconsin. That's pretty exceptional. But again, a lot of swing pass football, man. A lot of dink and dunk football. Not anything that involves throwing the ball down the field. Like if you look at Cam Ward and what Cam Ward did last year, while his completion percentage might not be nearly as high as these two guys, and Mendoza's at 72%. Cam Ward's was last year, just for example, last year he was 67.2%, but he threw for 4,313 yards, 39 touchdowns and 7 picks. He led the country in QB rating and yards per completion and yards per attempt. And I mean, he led in touchdowns. Um, he led the he led the conference in those. He led the league. He led the nation in touchdowns. He was second in the country in passing yards. And the throws that this kid made were otherworldly. Like you could have made a highlight film of Cam Ward last year. Could you make a highlight film of Fernando Mendoza and Julian Sand? No. And that's really last year what won Travis Hunter the Heisman. You could have made a highlight reel of the guy. And the funny thing is you had 3 guys that you could have made a highlight reel of that would have put everybody this year to shame except for one guy. And it's a guy that's not even being mentioned in this conversation. Malachi Toney. Malachi Toney, if you've watched Malachi Toney play enough this season, you goddamn well know. You goddamn well know that Malachi Toney should win the Heisman Trophy. Malachi Toney is, if you want to argue the best players in the country, if you want to tell me that Jeremiah Smith is the best player in the country, I won't argue it. But I would say, no, I would argue it. I'm sorry. I would argue it. He might be the best receiver in the country. He's not the best player in the country. Does he do what Malachi Toney does? No. Has he had the same impact on his team that Malachi Toney has on his team? No. Malachi Toney is 18 years old, started off in college as a 17-year-old. He has broken the all-time record in catches by a freshman at Miami. He will, regardless of whatever postseason game Miami goes to, whether it's a bowl game, playoffs, he will, presuming he plays in a bowl game if that happens, he will break Xavier Restrepo's record for catches, which is at 85, and Toney's got 84. The last two games of the season, Malachi Toney's gone 25 catches for like 270 yards around there. He's also thrown for touchdowns. He has also returned punts. He has also run the ball as a running back. He's also been a wildcat quarterback. He's literally thrown passes as a quarterback. The guy does everything. He does everything. He means more to the Miami Hurricanes roster than Jeremiah Smith does to the Ohio State roster. He means more to the success of the Miami Hurricanes than Jeremiah Smith does to Ohio State. And while I know this is typically a quarterback award, we have to be honest about what we're watching. And if you have spent even 5 minutes watching the, if you've been even spent 5 minutes watching the Miami Hurricanes this year, you have seen that Malachi Toney is the most special college football player in the country. He is the number one freshman in the country, and it's not close. I'm looking for, here's the current, it's not close. He is the number one all purpose player in the nation. It's not close. And who was the number one all purpose player last year? Travis Hunter. He is a better wide receiver than Travis Hunter. He doesn't play cornerback, I understand, but he plays quarterback, and he's been punt returner, and he's been a running back. I mean, he has done everything on the offensive side of the ball that you could possibly do, all while being bracketed every which way possible. Breaking tackles. Most of his plays are not plays where he's catching the ball down the field, by the way. That's also something that should be looked at. He doesn't catch balls typically 20 yards downfield. He had a few, but a lot of the catches that Malachi Toney makes are short, 0 to 10 yard passes, for which he typically breaks 2 or 3 tackles almost every single time. We've seen this guy make moves that are otherworldly on guys just to get an extra 3 yards. It's just crazy. Right now, the odds have it as follows. Fernando Mendoza is at plus 105. Sane is at plus 155. Diego Pavia is at plus 400. He is third right now. I'm going to tell you right now, I guess if you looked at maybe the wow factor, Diego Pavia would be in that conversation. Diego Pavia this year has thrown for 3,192 yards, 27 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He is largely responsible for the success of Vanderbilt the last couple seasons. Well, this season, because last year they ended up 7-5 actually. 71.2% completions. He's been very, very solid. He leads the SEC in almost every passing category. So he is someone who is in the conversation. Then you got Jeremiah Love, running back out of Notre Dame. And Jeremiah Love is a tremendous player. And if you actually asked me who would the Heisman Trophy go to if I had to pick between the four guys that I just mentioned, it wouldn't be Jeremiah Love, because Jeremiah Love right now is not even having a fraction of the season that Ashton Jeanty had last year. It's kind of crazy. His season this year is not remotely close to the season that Ashton Jeanty had last season. Like, it's a fraction, albeit Jeremiah Love is one of the best football players in America. He should be in the conversation. Then you go to Jeremiah Smith, a plus 20,000. Jacob Rodriguez, plus 25,000. That's a linebacker, I believe. I don't even know who that is. I think I just saw that. Wait, he's a linebacker. So this linebacker is in the conversation from Texas Tech, which is wild to me. I don't know what the guy has done to make him so special. He's got 57 tackles. I'm saying 104 tackles, 4 interceptions, 41 yards in returns, 2 fumble recoveries, 1 touchdown, 7 forced fumbles. He's a great linebacker. He's a great linebacker. But yeah, I don't even know who he is. Gunnar Stockton at plus 30,000 and Ty Simpson at plus 30. If you saw Ty Simpson play the last couple games and you think that guy is a Heisman Trophy candidate, you're sick. Like, you're out of your mind. out of your mind. Here's what's crazy. There are no odds for Malachi Toney. None. Let me see if I can find them. Right now, they don't even have odds for Malachi Toney. And that I find to be absolutely freaking insane, people. Like I said, the impact that Malachi Toney has had on this college football season is second to none. He is a walking, talking highlight reel. This guy yesterday had a one-handed catch and a touchdown pass on the same drive. Same drive. He caught a one-handed touch pass, a ridiculous catch, and then threw a touchdown pass. It goes without saying. I mean, if you've watched Malachi Toney play, and I've watched all these guys play, have I seen Malachi Toney play more? Yeah. I really haven't seen Texas Tech. I'll be quite honest. I haven't seen Texas Tech, so can't speak on a linebacker. Um, but yeah, you'd be hard pressed to find me a better football player. Malachi Toney should be a first team All American, all purpose player. I'm not saying he'll be a wide receiver first team, although he could, realistically. He could be a first team all American punt returner. I mean, he's been that dynamic punting, returning punts that they don't punt him the ball anymore. They try to put as much air under it to get him to fair catch it, or they kick away from him because there was that one stretch where he just was returning punts like a madman, like the SMU one where he returned it down to the 8-yard line or whatever. I mean, God Almighty, I wish he could have scored because that would have won us that goddamn game. But the guy is insane. He's absolutely insane. And if you've been watching and you've been paying attention, you damn well know that Malachi Toney is the best player in America. He is the best all-around player in America. He has done everything on the field that should encourage people to vote for him. Like I said, if I gave you a list and I said if I walked around town and I said, you know who Fernando Mendoza is? Do you know who Julian Sane is? Do you know who Diego Pavi is? I guarantee you probably more people know who Diego Pavi is than either Mendoza or Sane. But last year, if I'd walked around town and said, you know who Travis Hunter is? Oh, yeah, that bad motherfucker over at Colorado. Or do you know who Cam Ward is? Oh, you mean that guy throwing the ball cross-body for touchdowns? Yeah, that guy? Yeah, I know that guy. Heck, I mean, do you know who Ashton Genty is? You mean that running back that stands straight up who's got like 2,500 yards rushing? Yeah, that guy. You knew who those guys. You knew who those guys were. This year, who do you know? You know who you know? You know Malachi Toney. You know Jeremiah Smith, and you know Jeremiah Love. I mean, those are the guys you know. And of those guys, the best guy in the country is Malachi Toney. It's like not even close. It's not close. And the fact that they don't have odds for him, the fact that he hasn't been pushed as a candidate is wild to me. It's wild. I'm sitting here wondering, like, what has the University of Miami been doing in promoting their best player? Like a couple weeks ago or a week ago, Marcel Reed was in the conversation until his team lost. It's funny, you lose a game, you're out of the conversation. Gunnar Stockton, have you watched Gunnar Stockton play football? If that guy, like, I'm sorry, I just have to laugh because this is the guy that Georgia decided to start at quarterback because obviously, Carson Beck was leaving. But this is a guy that certain people said it was better than Carson Beck. Let me tell you something, man. These are the numbers that Gunnar Stockton's put up this year. 2,535 yards, 20 touchdowns, 5 picks. He averages 211 yards per game. He completes 70.2% of his passes. Let me compare you now to Carson Beck, the guy that left Georgia. Because if Carson Beck is at Georgia this year, Georgia's undefeated right now. If Carson Beck's at Georgia this year, Georgia's winning the national championship this year. Because there still is a talent and a coaching gap between Georgia and Miami. And I think we all know that there's a massive coaching gap more so. Talent gap, I don't know the talent gap is as large, but coaching gap, we know there's a coaching gap. This year, Carson Beck has thrown for 3,072 yards, 25 touchdowns. He does have 10 picks, 74.7% completion. That's the best he's had in his career, actually. He leads the ACC in QB rating. He's thrown for 256 yards per game. He leads the ACC in completion percentage. I mean, You telling me right now that Gunnar Stock has been better than Carson Beck this year? Please stop it. I don't want to hear it. You can throw the interceptions in the trash can. I watch the games. I know what picks were bad and I know what picks were not bad. Picking the one pick he threw yesterday was bad. Was not a good. It was bad. It was a bad throw. I feel like he's trying to hold the ball up. The one that he threw, the two that he threw against SMU were. I don't think either one was on him. Neither one of them was on him. One was a bad route run and one was a drop ball. Two of the four against Louisville were not on him. To me, hell, I would say three of the four were not on him. To me, so that's 5 of the 10 interceptions that the guy thrown all year. I think he threw two against South Florida. So, and there was one more scattered in there. Don't remember when it was. Finished the season off blistering hot. I mean, incredible. Yeah, you're not going to tell me for nothing that Gunnar Stockton's better than Carson Beck. So this is the list though. This is the list. Ty Simpson's laughable. Oh my God. Haynes King, he fell off the map. Again, tell me why Malachi Toney is not in the conversation. Tell me why. Tell me why. I need someone to explain to me, like I'm a moron, why the most dynamic, most exciting, most electrifying football player in America is not on the list for the Heisman Trophy. I mean, this is nothing short of insane. And I'm telling you right now, he probably won't win it this year. But to not consider him and not have him in that conversation, I mean, you can listen to the comments here. This has to be the worst Heisman race in a long time. These are posts. Another one. This has to be the weakest Heisman race in the history of the sport. Yeah, especially when you don't have the best player in the country in the conversation. I don't think there's a human soul in the public that would argue. That's the thing. I don't think there's anyone that would argue that Malachi Toney should not win it. Like, I don't think there's anyone that would argue this. And that's what makes it so crazy is if you ask people, random people who watch college football, who should win the Heisman Trophy, I would guarantee you that 70% would say Malachi Toney over the rest of these guys because they've watched football. They see what this kid has done. It's incredible. Like, I'm sitting here as a Hurricanes fan I'm 47 years old. I'll be 48 in 8 days. Remember that on my birthday, I will probably do a live just because I'm going to look for super chats. But 8 days, I'll be 48 years old. And I'm going to tell you right now, in my 48 years, so my 44 years of football that I can remember from the time I was 4 or 5 years old, bro, in that time period, I've never seen a football player at the University of Miami like Malachi Toney. Never. Never. Have there been players similar to him across the country? Sure, maybe a few, a handful. But like him at Miami, and people are going to take this the wrong. Some Hurricane fans get sensitive about stuff when I say certain things about like Devin Hester, Santana Moss, Roscoe Parrish, blase. As an all-around player, Malachi Toney is the best player Miami's ever had, ever. And I grew up to guys, and I was in college when Santana Moss played, and I love Santana Moss. Electrifying. Like he to me would be the comparison because at one point it was Kevin Williams. No, it's really Santana Moss, a guy Moss who came on a track scholarship, not a football scholarship. Malachi, a guy who's coming in as a 17-year-old that could have been back in high school for another year and won another state championship. Those and I'm doing this as a freshman. Moss wasn't like this as a freshman. He was good. He wasn't this. Like, that's what makes this so crazy. It's not that he's doing it. It's like he's a freshman, a true freshman doing this. It's otherworldly. He's the greatest skill player Miami's ever had. The greatest one. When you combine wide receiver, returns, blocking, like, do you watch this guy block? Like, if you could do a highlight film of him blocking people. That's what makes it so crazy. Him blocking people as a running back, as a quarterback, like everything. He is it. So Y'all let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Do you think I'm crazy? Because I think the Miami Hurricane football program, the administration, and all of that should spend the next 10 days because the Heisman voting is probably what yesterday was so it was the 29th, probably what the December 12th around there. That's I don't know, is that a Saturday? When is Saturday? Uh Let me see. 13th. I presume it's the 13th. The Heisman Trophy is the 13th of December. The next week and a half, whenever the heck the ballots are due, until the ballots are due, the Miami Hurricane football program and administration need to put on a mega hard campaign for Malachi Toney. Send these people his video. Send them the clips. Like you will have a highlight reel that goes for an hour. It's insane. It will go for an hour when you combine all the things that this guy does. He's incredible. People may debate me on the fact that I said he's the greatest skill player that Miami's ever had. And I'm talking, and that's how much I think of this guy. That's how good he is. He is mesmerizing on a football field. It's like, wait, did he just do that? Oh my God, that every play is like that, people. Every play. Every time he touches the ball, you think something crazy is going to happen. And a lot of times it does. So, yeah, Malachi Toney for the Heisman. I said it. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts. Hit the like button. I want to get all your comments. You tell me who you would have win the Heisman Trophy, if not Malachi Toney. And I want you to tell me why. So I appreciate that. Y'all hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Ring that bell. This is Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Coming Down the Podcast. And of course, tonight, 9 p.m., we're going live. Hurricanes Unfiltered live. So hope to see you there. God bless. Have a great day. Come on now.